good evening to the world, and a historic good evening to the Philippines. You are witnessing a moment that will be etched in the annals of sporting history forever. We are live, we are electric, and we are standing on the precipice of a dawn that Philippine tennis has waited over a century to see. The headlines are screaming, the social media feeds are burning up, and the atmosphere here at the Rizal Memorial Tennis Center is not just loud, it is seismic. The world is watching. The tennis community is in a state of absolute suspension. Why? Because tonight, the narrative isn't just about a ball and a racket. It is about a homecoming. It is about redemption. It is about the queen of the court finally defending her crown on her own soil. Welcome to our wall-to-wall coverage of the WTA 125 Philippine Women's Open. I'm your host, and if you are just joining us, buckle up. You have walked into a hurricane of hype, hope, and history. The headline you're seeing is real. Whole world shocked. Alexandra Eala opens Philippine Open versus Alina Charaeva of Russia. This is history. Let's unpack that word, history. It is a word thrown around loosely in sports, often diluted by overuse. But tonight, it is the only word that fits. For the first time in the modern era, the Women's Tennis Association, the WTA, has planted its flag in Manila. And standing at the center of the storm is none other than the prodigy, the sensation, the pride of the Philippines, Alexandra Eala. But here is the twist. Here is a shock that has pundits and analysts across the globe whispering in hushed tones. The script was supposed to be a coronation, a gentle welcome home. Instead, fate has delivered a blockbuster. Fate has delivered a ghost in the past. Alex Eala, currently sitting at a career-high world ranking inside the top 50, fresh off her main draw debut at the Australian Open, is not walking into a friendly exhibition. She is walking into a war. Standing across the net tonight in the round of 32 is a name that sends a shiver down the spine of those who remember the gritty clay courts of the ITF circuit in 2020. She faces a Russian powerhouse, the relentless Alina Charaeva. Why is the world shocked? Because this isn't just a first-round match. This is a collision of trajectories. This is a rematch 6 years in the making. Let's rewind the clock. Take yourselves back to 2020. The world was in lockdown, but tennis was finding its way. In the dusty, grinding courts of Spain, specifically the W15 Melilla, a young, 15-year-old Alex Eala faced Charaeva. It was a different time. Eala was a junior phenom, still finding her footing in the pro circuit. Charaeva was a hurdle she couldn't clear. That day, the Russian walked away with a straight sets victory, 6-3, 6-3. It was a lesson. It was a bruise on the record. Fast forward to tonight, January 26, 2026. The context has shifted tectonically. Eala is no longer just a junior hopeful. She is a Grand Slam junior champion, a WTA title holder, and a national icon whose face graces billboards from EDSA to Ayala Avenue. But Charaeva? She remains a dangerous floater, ranked 163rd in the world. She is hungry. She is a spoiler. And she holds the psychological edge of that 1-0 head-to-head record. The shockwaves reverberating through the tennis world right now aren't just about the matchup. They are about the stakes. We are talking about Eala's first ever professional match in the Philippines. The pressure is unimaginable. Think about it. When Manny Pacquiao fights in Vegas, the Philippines stops. But when he fought in Manila, the air was different. It was heavier. That is what Eala is facing tonight. She isn't just playing for ranking points. She is playing for thousands of fans screaming her name in the stands and the millions watching at home. She is carrying the weight of a nation that sees her not just as an athlete, but as a symbol of global excellence. And Charaeva knows this. The Russian is walking into a lion's den. She knows the crowd will be hostile. She knows the noise will be deafening. But that makes her dangerous. It makes her the villain in this narrative, a role that many tennis players thrive in. If Charaeva wins, she crashes the party. She silences the Rizal Memorial. She becomes a story. That potential for an upset, that potential for a shock result on opening night, is what has the betting markets and the tennis insiders on edge. We have received reports on the ground that the queues outside the stadium began forming at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. for a tennis match. This speaks to the hunger of the Filipino sports fan. They have seen Eala conquer New York in the U.S. Open Juniors. They have seen her lift trophies in Spain. But they have never seen her here. They have never seen the lefty forehand whip across the court in the humid Manila air. This is a pilgrimage for them. And let's talk about the shock of the tournament itself. The Philippine Women's Open is a WTA 125 event. Securing this tournament was a massive coup for Philippine tennis. It signals that the country is ready to be a player on the global stage. But with that hosting duty comes the expectation of performance. The organizers, the sponsors, the fans, they all want a deep run from the home favorite. Drawing Charaeva, a player with a proven track record against Eala, a player who hits flat, hard, and fast, is a nightmare scenario for a first round. It is the toughest possible test to start the campaign. There are whispers in the locker room. Is Eala ready for the distraction? Can she handle the media circus? She has spent the last week doing press conferences, photo shoots, and meet and greets. It is a home tournament curse that affects so many great players. We've seen it with French players at Roland Garros. We've seen it with Aussies in Melbourne. The emotional toll of wanting to win too much can be paralyzing. Charaeva, on the other hand, has been flying under the radar. She has been practicing quietly on the side courts. She has nothing to lose and everything to gain. This broadcast is going to take you deep. We aren't just looking at the score. We are going to dissect the biomechanics. We are going to analyze the court surface, the new hard courts laid down specifically for this event. We are going to talk about the humidity factor, the ball speed, and the tactical adjustments Eala has made to her serve in the off-season. We are witnessing history because this is the moment the torch is fully lit. For decades, Philippine tennis was defined by legends like Felix Barrientos or Cecil Mamiet. But Eala represents the new age. She is the bridge to the future. And tonight, that future is on the line against a past rival. So, to the millions watching on YouTube, on satellite, and on mobile devices, do not blink. Do not look away. You are about to see a battle of wills. You are about to see if the Queen of the North can defend her territory against the invader from the East. The 2026 Philippine Women's Open is officially open, and it opens with a bang that has shocked the world. Alexandra Eala, Alina Charaeva, the rematch, the homecoming, the history. Stay with us. We are just getting started. This is a deep dive. Transitioning now from the sheer electricity of the moment to the cold, hard facts. To understand why this match is sending shockwaves through the sport, we need to strip away the hype and look at the machinery of this matchup. We need to understand the players, the venue, the history, and the tactics. This is your deep dive analysis. The context, a national pilgrimage. Let's begin with the macro view. Why is this match being billed as history? To the uninitiated observer, a round of 32 match in a WTA 125 event might seem like a standard Tuesday on the tour, but context is king. The Philippines is a basketball nation. It is a boxing nation. Tennis has always lived in the periphery, a sport for the elite clubs or the dedicated few. Alex Eala has changed that geometry single-handedly. By winning the U.S. Open Junior title, by breaking into the WTA Top 50, she has democratized interest in the sport. She has done what very few athletes can do. She has crossed over into the mainstream cultural zeitgeist. Tonight's match at the Rizal Memorial Tennis Center is the culmination of an 8-year journey. Eala left the Philippines as a child, a 12-year-old prodigy heading to the Rafael Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain. She left to be forged in the fire of European clay. She returns tonight not as a child, but as a professional. This narrative arc, the return of the native, is powerful. It adds a layer of emotional density to the match that simply doesn't exist in a neutral venue. The Philippine Women's Open itself is a historic entity. This is the first time the WTA Tour has sanctioned a 125-level event in the archipelago. The infrastructure required to host this, the court surfacing, the lighting, the officiating standards, is a testament to the country's desire to become a tennis hub in Southeast Asia. And let's be honest, this tournament exists largely because of Alex Eala. She is the gravitational center that pulled this event into existence. That puts a target on her back. Every player in the draw knows that beating Eala in Manila is the ultimate spoil. Now, let's turn our lens to the opponent. The headline says the world is shocked, and part of that shock comes from the quality of the opposition. Alina Charaeva is not a journeywoman to be taken lightly. Born in Russia, Charaeva is a contemporary of Eala. They grew up in the same junior ecosystem. If you follow junior tennis, you remember 2020. That was a year of the pandemic. But it was also the year Charaeva made the final of the French Open Juniors. She was the runner-up at Roland Garros. That is a pedigree that commands respect. She was a world #1 junior at one point. She knows how to hit a tennis ball. Why is she ranked 163rd, while Eala is top 50? Injuries, consistency, and the brutal transition from juniors to pros. But do not let the ranking fool you. Charaeva's game is dangerous. She possesses a flat, piercing backhand that stays very low, a nightmare on the skiddy hard courts we are seeing in Manila this week. The shock factor also stems from their head-to-head H2H record. As we mentioned in the intro, they have met once professionally. The W15 Melilla in Spain, September 2020. Charaeva destroyed Eala that day. 6-3, 6-3. Yes, Eala was only 15. Yes, it was on clay. But psychological scars in tennis are real. When Charaeva looks across the net tonight, she doesn't see a top 50 superstar. She sees the girl she beat in straight sets. She sees a winnable match. That confidence is a dangerous weapon. Charaeva's motivation tonight is twofold. First, the points. A win over a top 50 player would catapult her ranking and get her season back on track. Second, the atmosphere. Russian players, historically, have shown incredible resilience in hostile environments. Think of Daniil Medvedev at the U.S. Open. Think of Maria Sharapova in Fed Cup ties. Charaeva will look to channel that us against the world energy. She will try to use the crowd's noise against Eala, hoping the pressure causes a Filipino to tighten up. Let's analyze the Alex Eala of 2026 compared to the Alex Eala of 2020. The evolution has been staggering. In 2020, Eala was a counterpuncher. She relied heavily on her lefty spin, looping balls high to the opponent's backhand, waiting for an error. She was gritty, but she lacked firepower. The Eala we see tonight is a transformed athlete, standing 5 feet 9 inches. She is filled out physically. Her time at the Nadal Academy has instilled a first-strike mentality. She is no longer waiting for errors. She is forcing them. The serve. This has been the biggest area of improvement. In 2024 and 2025, we saw Eala reconstruct her service motion. She added a higher toss and more leg drive. She is now consistently hitting the 170 to 180 kilometers per hour mark on her first serve. Against Charaeva, who is a solid returner, Eala needs free points. She needs that slider out wide on the ad court, the classic lefty weapon. The forehand, this is her money shot. The lefty forehand cross court. Tonight, watch for how early she takes the ball. If she is stepping inside the baseline and taking Charaeva's flat balls on a rise, Eala will win. If she retreats and lets Charaeva dictate from the middle, we are in for a long night. Mental fortitude. This is the X factor. Eala has spoken in press conferences this week about taking it one point at a time. It's a cliche, but it's a survival mechanism. The pressure tonight is suffocating. Everyone expects her to win. If she goes down a break early, how does she react? Does she panic? Or does she look at her box, reset, and grind? Her recent performance at the Australian Open, where she fought through qualifiers or played a tough main draw match, showed maturity. She belongs at this level. Let's get technical. We are at the Rizal Memorial Tennis Center. The surface is an outdoor hard court. Court speed. Reports indicate the courts are playing medium-slow. This actually favors Eala. It gives her that split-second extra to set up her big swings. It allows her to neutralize Charaeva's flat power. If the courts were lightning fast, Charaeva's flat hitting would be devastating. On a grittier hard court, the ball sits up. Eala can use her topspin to push Charaeva back. The weather, it is January in Manila. The humidity is the silent killer. Even at 7 p.m., the air is thick. Charaeva is coming from the European winter. Eala, despite training in Spain, has Filipino blood. She is genetically acclaimed to this heat, but she hasn't lived in it for years. Who wilts first? The physical conditioning will be tested if this goes to a third set. The lefty advantage. We cannot overstate this. Charaeva's backhand is her rock, but Eala's forehand cross-court goes directly into Charaeva's backhand. However, the lefty wide serve is the key. On the crucial points, 30-30 deuce break point, watch for Eala to slice the serve out wide on the ad side. It pulls Charaeva off the court, opening up the entire line for a winner. Why did we use the word shock in the headline? Because there are two potential shocks tonight. Scenario A, the upset shock. Charaeva comes out swinging freely. She breaks Eala early. The crowd gets nervous. A murmur goes through the stadium. Eala starts overhitting, trying to please the fans with winners that aren't there. The unforced error count rises. Charaeva wins in straight sets. This would be a disaster for the tournament organizers and a heartbreak for fans, but it is a very real possibility in tennis. The first round nerves are a documented phenomenon. Scenario B, the dominant shock. The other shock is if Eala completely dismantles Charaeva. If Eala comes out and wins 6-1, 6-2, it sends a message to the rest of the tour. It says, I am not just here to participate. I am here to rule. A dominant win would shock the critics who say she is overrated or a product of hype. It would validate her top 50 ranking. 6. The psychology of the crowd. Let's discuss the third player on the court. The Manila crowd. Tennis etiquette usually demands silence during the point, but this is the Philippines. We expect a Davis Cup-like atmosphere. Cheers during the toss? Maybe. Groans after a missed first serve? Definitely. How does Charaeva handle this? Some Russian players thrive on being the villain. If she starts fist-pumping after Eala's errors, the crowd will turn on her viciously. This emotional volatility is a variable that statistics cannot predict. For Eala, the challenge is tunnel vision. She cannot play to the gallery. She has to play the ball. If she starts acknowledging the crowd too much, she loses focus. She needs to be a surgeon amidst a rock concert. 7. The bigger picture, WTA in Southeast Asia. This match is a litmus test for the WTA's expansion in the region. Southeast Asia has been hungry for a star since Tamarine Tanasugar in Thailand. Eala is that star. If she succeeds here, we could see an upgrade to this tournament, maybe a WTA 250 or 500 in the future. The commercial viability of tennis in the Philippines rests on the shoulders of this 20-year-old girl tonight. That is a heavy burden. Sponsors are watching. TV networks are watching. If the ratings for this match are high, the investment will follow. This is the business of sport intersecting with the passion of play. 8. Match prediction factors. As we inch closer to the first serve, here are the key metrics I am tracking. First serve percentage. Eala needs to be above 65%. If she is serving at 50%, Charaeva will attack the second serve and dictate the rallies. Unforced errors. Forehand Eala's forehand is high risk, high reward. If she keeps the error count under 15 for the match, she wins. Break point conversion. In their 2020 match, Eala struggled to convert break points. She needs to be clinical tonight. When she gets a chance, she must take it. Body language. Watch Eala's shoulders. If they are slumped, she is feeling the pressure. If she is bouncing on her toes, she is ready. This is not just a game. It is an examination. It is a moment of truth. The world is shocked because the stakes have never been higher for a first-round match in a 125 tournament. It feels like a Grand Slam final for Philippines. Let's take a short breath, because when we return, the warm-ups will be over, the umpire will call time, and history will officially begin. And there you have it. The stage is set. The lights are blazing at the Rizal Memorial Tennis Center. The players are in the tunnel. The noise is rising to a fever pitch. We have broken down every angle. We have looked at the history of the 2020 heartbreak in Spain. We have analyzed the tactical warfare between the lefty spin of Alexandra Eala and the flat, laser-like ground strokes of Alina Charaeva. We have discussed the crushing weight of expectation on the young Filipina's shoulders, and the dangerous freedom of the Russian underdog. Now the analysis ends and the reality begins. To everyone watching this broadcast, whether you are a die-hard tennis aficionado who analyzes grip changes or a casual fan tuning in just to see the Philippine flag fly high, understand the gravity of what you are about to watch. You are not just watching a ball go over a net. You are watching a nation try to claim its place in a global sport. You are watching a young woman try to rewrite the script of her career in real time. If Eala wins tonight, the roof will blow off the stadium. It will set up a run that could define her season. If she loses, it will be a lesson in the brutality of professional sport. A reminder that there are no fairy tales, only earned victories. But regardless of the result, the shock is real. The shock is that we are here. The shock is that Manila is hosting world-class tennis. The shock is that a girl from Quezon City has forced the tennis world to look at this corner of the globe and pay attention. This is the Philippine Open. This is round one. This is Eala versus Charaeva. I want you to do one thing for me right now. Check your pulse. Because if it isn't racing, you aren't paying attention. The umpire is climbing the chair. The players are walking out. The history books are open, and the pen is in Alex Eala's hand. Don't go anywhere. The first ball is about to be struck. This is history. This is her house. Let's see if she can defend it. For the final time before the first serve, game, set, and match starts now. Player A, Alexandra Eala, PHI. Rank, 49 WDA. Plays, left-handed, two-handed backhand. Key stat, 2022 U.S. Open Junior Champion. Player B, Alina Charaeva, Russ. Rank, 163 WDA. Plays, right-handed, two-handed backhand. Key stat, 2020 Roland Garros Junior runner-up. Head-to-head, Charaeva leads 1-0, W15 Melia 2020. Surface, hard court outdoor. Location, Manila, Philippines.